p.m., May 21st. Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to switch things up a little bit. First of the presentation to the board. First up will be FF8. I'd like to come up to
Thanks for everybody for giving us your time to present. We've got 9 students here. We're going to recap the year, things we do in FFA, some of the big winnings, and we're just happy to come here and share.
Like, can we have the kids come up and sit here so we can see them?
I'm going to call them up.
Oh, perfect.
So we have, tonight we have Maya Toth, our vice president, our chapter vice president for Vet Science.
I know, so do I. Hold your applause.
Emily Greenwood, our treasurer for Vet Science. Trevor Rondo, our chapter reporter from Vet Science. Mitch Gillette, our historian from Forest and Wildlife Management. His OB is in the wash. Hunter Prince from the Forestry and Wildlife Program. Sarah Katsois from Vet Science. Heidi Lindano from Vet Science. Emily Wagner from Retail Forest. Hannah Covey from Retail Forest. We'll let everybody here. So, FFA members, why are we here?
To practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA member should possess.
It's okay.
All right, let's see. Gotta get this. There we go.
So before I introduce a little bit about our chapter, I want to start with a joke. So why is a pampered cow? No, what do you get from a pampered cow? Spoiled milk. So our chapter has 86 members, and over the past year we have competed in 20 different career development events. Our total CD registrations was 270, so we competed in that many events personally. And we have 546 community service hours logged. On the left here is some of the things we have attended this past year, from competitions to community service at Walk for Whiskers, and then finally to our end of the year banquet that's going to happen in June. And next we're just going to kind of recap from last year. So last year I had the chance to be a part of our veterinary science team. In the spring of last year, we placed first at the UNH Spring Interscholastics. Following that, we got the chance to go to regionals at the Big E, where we also placed first. You can see a fun picture of us trying on hats and then the clip from the newspaper. Following that, we got a chance to go to nationals in Indianapolis, Indiana, which is a picture on the far side with our plaque. We placed 13th, running us a gold medal, and I'm really blessed to have that opportunity because it was super cool to be in that huge convention hall and see over 50,000 FFA members and just see Blue Jackets everywhere, and all the people that emphasize Blue Jacket, and meet people from all over the states and kind of get more connections and people that I'll futurely be talking with in my later agricultural careers.
So last year in our early spring in our state convention that we go to Mount Washington, we placed first place, and we were able to go to nationals later that year. And we also competed in the Big E, which is like a run-up to nationals, like a practice for everybody. And at nationals, our team placed second, so we got a silver medal.
Wow.
Excellent.
So last spring, or this spring, we had our
First place was Emily Avila. Second place was Trevor Rienda. Third place was Sarah Katsavis. And fourth place was a tie for Emily Greenwood and Peggy Londano, which is me.
The veterinary science CE consisted of many aspects. The core contest events included the general knowledge exam, the identification of equipment, parasites, and breeds, the math applications practicum, and the current events practicum.
It also consisted of the clinical procedures practicum, which consisted of prepping vaccines and filling syringes to administering ophthalmic medication to oral medication, our handling machinery practicums. We had machinery with large and small animals, and our comprehensive team activity, which topic was fear-free female practice.
And this year's forestry CDE, our forestry team consists of Kelly Lazarnik, Justin Bigelow, myself, Mitchell Gillette, and Gage Marquise. First place individual was Kelly Lazarnik. Third place was myself, Mitchell Gillette. And fourth place was Gage Lazarnik. This is Kelly and this is Justin. They weren't able to make it today. This is me. That's measuring trees in the Washington Resort. That's more measuring trees in the Mountain Washington Resort. And this is all the people who showed up for the state competitions in Washington.
So our New Hampshire core contests like events that we have to study for states are general knowledge exam, a tree ID, tree measurements, equipment ID, and team activity, which is just plotting some part in the woods, whatever they want us to do. And then for our rotational practicums, we only get 2 out of this list of 6. So this year it was map interpretation and compass and pace. And last year was chainsaw parts and wasn't it
Forest products, dreaded forest products.
The nationals is a bit more difficult. It has the same 5 core content events, but it has 2 out of 8 rotational practicums that we do not know it until the day of nationals. So we have to do quite a bit of studying.
Donald Flanders and myself, Emily Wagner. Our second place individual was Hannah Covey.
The floral arrangement CDE, first place was Emily Wagner. Second place was a tie between myself and Annie Cummings.
Some of the floral arrangements we had was the general knowledge exam, plant ID, equipment ID, a floral arrangement practicum where we mentioned big floral arrangement, and potting lighters practicum, which we had to transplant plants from their cell pack containers into pots.
For nationals, we're going to also have to do a general knowledge exam, plant ID and equipment ID, a team activity, problem solving and decision making, floral arrangements, growing procedures, and job interviews. And we also will have to do rotational practicums of selling, practicums, mixed planting, practicums, and disordered ID.
We also have to make and package a corsage, do plant disorder ID and control, and handle a hazardous situation.
So lastly, what we want to review what the blue jacket means to us. So in the middle is kind of a list of what we see as the core values that all FFA members possess. First is leadership. I think leadership is when you put on that blue jacket, you walk into a room, and you stand a little bit straighter, you hold yourself to a little bit of a higher level. We learned through FFA that leadership means you involve everybody, make sure everybody has a word to say. It's not a dictatorship. You also learn how to teach people and use your knowledge to help everybody in the community.
So
personal growth and professional growth. I personally feel like FFA has helped me grow as a person just alone, but also professionally wise because I've learned how to make good job applications and be professional through job interviews and a lot of other things that are going to help me in an agricultural experience.
Community-wise, we are all part of the Blue Jacket, not just in the Alvin FFA chapter, which is our community, but throughout the state, state convention, you get to meet a lot of other people from the state, and even at nationals, you get to meet everybody from across the U.S. that also wears the Blue Jacket, so it's kind of just like a big community overall part.
As a member, you are held to a little bit of a higher standard than others. So that makes you a bit more of a positive individual, which helps you build character.
By wearing the blue jacket and being a part of FFA, we get to be curious and dive deep into different fields of study and do different events, and it helps us.
We're committed as FFA members. We really have to dedicate ourselves to studying and preparing for events. Especially those who are going to nationals in October, you're going to have to participate in study sessions over the summer, which includes weekends or Friday nights, staying at birthdays.
So lastly, this year at our state convention, we had the honor of receiving the Robert and Elizabeth McLean Memorial Scholarship, which gave us $500 to use in the best interest of the chapter. So we're really blessed to get the opportunity. And there's a picture of all of our members that attended state convention this year. State convention is where a lot of competitions are held, and also there's a lot of workshops that help build character and leadership skills and serving skills and everything. And you also get to meet people from all over the state to build further connections. And we just want to thank you guys for your time. Really appreciate you listening to us.
Thank
you.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask you a couple of questions? You can. Here's a forestry joke. How can you tell a dog look? By its bark. Pretty bad. It's not a milk. It's not a cow. Thanks,
Don't quit your day job.
I'm not going to do that while I'm not here, so. All right, one couple questions and comments. I was able this weekend with the Farm and Forestry show. You guys did an incredible job. I had the camera. I went and interviewed some of you guys. It was almost like you had a script, and I don't think you knew I was coming. You know, and you guys just like were so excited in everything you did. And I mean, Mitch and those guys started up the milling machine, not the milling machine, the sawmill, and you know, the girls took me into the greenhouse and showed me how to plant a sunflower seed. And the vet program showed me the names of the donkeys. There is a donkey called Wally.
You taught him how to plant it, you know, like, so he needs to go back and he needs to go back and find out a lesson.
As some of you know, my plants that I'm in farming also, but it's maple trees, and they're already grown, so I can't mess them up. No. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Can I ask a question?
Most definitely.
So this is wonderful. My father worked for the U.S. Department of Agriculture for his whole career, looking into plant diseases and things like that. So this makes me very, very happy to see that this is continuing. So I have two questions. One is, you know, you talk about studying. So tell me a little bit about how you prepare for the academic portion of those competitions.
So last year, so leading up until states, we probably start states is in, or at least veterinary science, states is in middle of March. So we probably start towards the end of February, and we come after school pretty much every day, and we review like all the practicums. So the practicums for all the events, it's like little kind of like skits to memorize. For at least veterinary science, you have to memorize each step. Could be from 3 steps to 15 steps. Memorize and do each step. We also have the tests. So like we can use all the tests from previous years, and we go through all of them. They could be any random questions. And it's kind of just using every possible resource we can, like going through all of our textbooks. My teacher, she picks out like random information, that might be in there, might not, but always good to know.
And speaking of resources, we have a veterinarian that actually comes in and helps us. Her name's Dr. Murdoch. She's actually a graduate from Alvin. She's really, really sweet with helping us out with everything.
So would I be correct if I say that you study together in study groups?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a proven and known way for effective learning. When you learn from each other, that's really remarkable and wonderful, and that's why I believe you're probably doing as well as you are, plus you're all really, really smart. But those skills you're going to take forward with you in whatever training or education or work that you do, because when you come together and study in groups, it's one of the most effective ways to learn. So kudos to you on that. And then second, for those of you that are graduating, are some of you seniors?
I'm a senior.
Are you going to go into a career that relates to this?
Yeah, so actually, I'm first going to the Air Force, but I want to be veterinarian. So all this information that I've learned from going nationals is all just going to help me more. I'm going to be a step ahead of everybody else in my program.
Terrific, thank you. It's wonderful.
I can just make a comment that I know that public speaking is a part of your training or whatever, but you guys all did a tremendous job. Very nice presentation, very composed.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
There's a few key points that I caught through it. You guys mentioned leadership, teamwork, responsibility, trust, professionalism, and accountability. Adults, we need to take heed because they're doing it on a daily basis. And Trevor, I told you I'd see you today, didn't I?
You did. It was a complete shock after I presented that.
Yeah, see, I went to Farm Day on Saturday, and I walked by Trevor, and he gave me a tutorial like you would not believe. When I left there, I was like, maybe I could be a farmer. But I doubt that very much, but thank you very much. You guys do a great job, and keep up the good work, and good luck in the Air Force.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want me to shut this down or
Yep.
sign it out? Shut it off, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too.
Sunflower. My father did research on sunflowers.
Oh, it's probably he was the
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the agenda here. Another student presentation. I believe we have an Eagle Scout here. His name is Connor Urbach. If you'd like to come up, please.
Thank you again.
Nice job, thank you.
You can shut that laptop.
Hi.
Oh, he wants us to fix it. Connor, why don't you pull one of your microphones closer to you?
Is this okay?
You're all set.
Just do that now and I'll figure it out.
Hi, Connor.
Good evening. I'm a Life Scout from Troop 252 here in Hudson. I'm also a student at Alvern High School, and I'm here to request permission to do my Eagle Scout project at Alvern. The project will consist of painting 2 of the history classrooms at Alvern, rooms 214 and 216. The project, I'm planning to do the project over the summer. That's.
Okay.
All right.
I will answer any questions that you
Who's,
have.
who gets to pick the colors? No, I was gonna go with pink for one part. I was gonna offer to help you if you went for pink for one.
So
So you pick the colors.
are you painting a wall of color or are you doing a mural?
A color, but if you'd like a mural,
Oh.
I can make that
No, I was
happen.
thinking get some original art in there, but
Yeah,
I know, yeah, Mr. Lavoie's very fond of that. And, yeah,
I like that.
yeah, he does. Talk about like the HO stuff. Yeah, good stuff.
Can I,
Yes.
how does this tie into your overall project and to becoming an Eagle Scout? There must be some mission statement or some goal or vision that you have that supports why these 2 classrooms?
I chose the classrooms because I really like history, and I feel that people don't really pay attention, but usually, well, I think that the walls, like the paint is kind of fading and chipping, and that can be distracting, like if you just look up and you notice that and then you're thinking about that. but if it gets changed and it's brand new, then it can be a brighter, and students can be more attentive while.
But there's research on that too. There's research on a beautiful environment does support learning and engagement, so yay.
You've been talking to my wife, huh? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Connor, I can offer you some of my equipment when the time comes, ladders and staging and stuff, so you can, give me a call or whatever, and if you need ladders and stuff, because I know your job, the thing with Eagle Scouts is they don't physically do the work. They have to organize and find people to do it, and they organize the leadership piece. Have you found anybody for the paints, the donation of the paints yet, or?
I already spoke to Mr. Beals about this, and he said that the paint would be donated.
Okay. How about paint, like brushes or rollers or?
That should mostly be brought in by Scouts and myself.
Okay.
Do we need to make a motion?
Yes.
I make a motion that we allow Connor to do his Eagle Scout project by painting history rooms at Auburn High School.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. Any question?
Just a quick comment, Mr. Chairman, when everything's said and done, if you could send over some photos of it all done, we'd love to see it.
Before and after.
Before and after.
Before
We love the before and after.
And if it's good enough, you can come to my house.
And mine.
It's been properly moved in second. Any more questions? Seeing there be none, ready for the vote by show of hands?
Aye.
It's a vote, so declared. You're all set, young man.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. We're going to be going into public input, but before we do public input, we have to read a policy that we have in place.
Yeah, so we're doing this because because we have these public presentations with the FFA and the Scouts and stuff, our meetings run really long, and just to inform everybody about what the actual policy for public input is. So the primary purpose of the school board meetings is to conduct the business of the board as it relates to school policies, programs, and operations. The board encourages residents to attend board meetings so that they may become acquainted with the operation and program of the schools. All official meetings of the board shall be open to the press and public. However, the board reserves the right to meet and to adjourn or recess a meeting at any time. The board also reserves the right to enter non-public session at any time in accordance with the RSA. So here's the thing. In order to ensure the persons who wish to appear before the board may be heard at the same time, and may conduct its meetings properly and efficiently, the board adopts as policy the following procedures and rules. The first 15 minutes will be set aside for the citizens to address the board. We switched that around tonight because of the presentation. This period may be extended by a majority vote of the board. Speakers will be allotted 3 minutes per person. Members of the public may offer comments on agenda items only, unless they have permission ahead of time to do otherwise. The board will not entertain comments on items that do not appear on the agenda unless they've gotten permission ahead of time. Requests to address the board on matters not on the agenda must be presented to the superintendent and must set forth the specifics of the subject to be addressed. When appropriate, the board may place such requests on the agenda. Consistent with RSA 91A3 and the laws pertaining to student and family, this goes into non-public. So I know you guys have, I think you talked to Lee, right? Somebody? Emailed Lee to talk. So that's fine, he gave you permission. Just wanted to sort of let you know that's the rules of public input. The other problem is that sometimes our meetings go so long that by the time we get to the real agenda items, we're too exhausted to give them the consideration they need. So just thought we'd remind everybody what public input policy is. Thank you.
Okay, any public input this evening?
Just because the
Yes.
presentation just happened.
Your name and address,
Yep.
please.
My name is Holly Wagner. I live at 14 Tessier Street in Hudson. My daughter is a member of the FFA. She is a floriculture student, and I just want to say that these kids have worked very hard this year. They are going to nationals in October, and we have a meeting this Thursday, and a lot of it we're going to talk about too is fundraising, because there are a couple kids that belong to FFA who cannot afford to go to nationals. So my goal, which my daughter has brought to my attention over the weekend, is to help some of these kids. So I just wanted to bring that to attention, that there are some kids that are really struggling in this community that belong to that chapter and who are not going to be able to go. So,
Can I ask how much the cost is?
right now, the cost is $900.
Per person?
So, and we had to give a $200 deposit last week. And I mean, Emily only has 2 members of her team now because 2 people can't go. They can't afford to do it because every couple weeks we have to give $200. So we're going to try to.
Yes, Patty.
Did you talk to Steve about this, Beals?
Yes, I talked with Karen because we were talking about how to get the fundraiser
Well,
going.
did he tell you to make a proposal to the Auburn trustees?
There are, some kids don't want to step forward that they can't afford it.
You don't need to.
don't
You
need
don't
to.
have to. What you need to do is this. So you need to put a proposal together about, you don't name kids' names, you don't name anybody, you say, this is what we're doing, we got this, to this competition.
Okay.
We have, some students that cannot afford to do this, would there be any way that you would, put the amount in that you're looking for, would there be any way that you would be willing to, help support this by contributing these funds? And I'm gonna speak, I sit on the trustees, and I'm gonna tell you right now,
Okay,
they will support you.
all right.
Okay, so that is right there,
Okay.
that's your first avenue.
All right.
So I would talk to Mr. Beals about who to address the letter to.
All right.
And how to address it.
Yeah, 'cause I know
But
Emily would
but
definitely
that
write
should
it,
not-
'cause
That
she-
should not be an issue. They have done this in the past for other groups so that kids can go to competitions, and they will certainly do it for
Okay.
the horticulture. I
And,
know that.
and can you, if that, for some
Yep.
reason there's a glitch in that, could you let us know? We'll try to find some other way to help. I
All
find
right.
this something that we really need
Yeah,
to
the-
make
I
happen.
know,
Yeah,
I know.
'cause
that
I-
they
Kids
will
know they'll
support
go
it.
one way or the other.
Yeah, because there's more than a handful of kids who just
Yep,
couldn't
no,
do
they'll
it.
s- they'll-
And I
It's a lot
know
of money for some
it's-
families.
It's
a lot of
hard.
money.
So, but I just want to let you know, they're really working hard and they're trying to represent
Absolutely.
Alvern to the fullest. And
Yeah. Keep us in touch
Thank
about
you.
how that's
I
going,
will.
please.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public input?
Hi,
Name and address, please.
Diana Lamont, St. Laurent Drive. I actually have a question.
Yes.
How would I go about requesting that an item appear on your agenda for discussion? What's the procedure for that?
Email the superintendent or the vice chair, the chairman.
Okay.
Or, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the policy says that you can contact my administrative assistant, which is Gail Porter. She sets the agenda.
Gail
So you would
Porter,
contact
okay.
her, then she would talk to me, and then,
Is this,
Okay,
or you absolutely can contact me directly. That's not a
Okay.
problem at all.
very good.
Diane, you can tell us what
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
And I, okay.
Didn't
I
you
think-
already ask? You asked me,
Yes.
right?
I did, well, I wasn't sure if
No, you got
you were
permission.
talking about me. I am following up on my question from the last meeting, and I suggested the idea of a public input session to find out what Alvern renovations are important to people. Like, we didn't have an exit poll, so we don't know why people voted yes versus no. And I know there was a question about what's the protocol to go about making that happen. So I Googled it. And it does appear, I mean, there's really, it can be as informal as you choose it to be. And really, my whole intent on suggesting this is to help you all ascertain what's important to the taxpayers. And you can make it very clear, too, that whatever people share is not binding. Even if you take a poll, an opinion poll, it could be done with the understanding that it's not going to be binding on what decisions you make. I'm just thinking maybe it will help you all to determine what should move forward, from what failed in Article 2, what should move forward to a vote again next year.
So I agree with you, and we've done similar things, and we've used SurveyMonkey, and you can send it out to the parents in that form, and you don't get back, you don't need to see who it is.
Okay.
I think the biggest problem that, I know it's very hard for everybody to understand, is that, I mean, you see us right here on TV, you see the limited amount of time that we have. At this meeting, we're gonna talk about doing some kind of a school board retreat type of a day where we are just focused on what are the issues that are in the district, and how does everybody feel here on the board level of
Right.
importance, and how to move things forward. And I think after that is done with the school board, which will happen this summer, it's not like this is gonna happen in the fall. Then that would be the time to look at the survey after we've decided as a board where we think things should go, then we could put something out, and then that
Okay.
could feed into what we've already decided. But I think it's really hard because this board has not had that opportunity to really, I don't necessarily, except when I see Darcy maybe at a school play, know exactly what she thinks. And she may think differently than I think, and Lee may think differently than I think, and then sometimes what he says sways what I think. So,
Sure,
you know, that's the part that's really important, that, and I know it's frustrating as a person that's wanted so bad to, like, come on, we get the momentum, and I get it. But if people would just please be patient with us and understand that that is gonna happen. You'll see in this meeting, I mean, we're gonna set a date. There's gonna be a date, there's gonna be a time, you'll see that, and that's the
Okay.
sole intent of it.
And I think,
So-
and I'm not frustrated.
No,
I think it's
well-
more of a, we want to make sure a conversation happens, and maybe,
Right.
so knowing a general time frame for when is that realistic, sounds like
You'll know it tonight.
it will be.
Oh, it will,
you'll
I
know
will not
tonight.
leave this meeting until there
Okay.
is a date tonight.
And-
Because, right,
yep.
because my summer is busy, everybody's going on
Yes.
vacation, there will be a date tonight,
Okay.
that's it.
Okay, and I think too, I mean, I know last year, you know, getting the word out about the vote, we started behind schedule, we feel. So I guess our interest is coming from not frustration, but more planning, and, you know, we want to rally the troops to
Yep.
get the word out when we know what the word is. So that's really, you know, the intent. And like I offered last week, or 2 weeks ago, I appreciate how busy you are, and, I mean, I'm coming with suggestions,
Right.
willing to help implement
Yeah.
them as well, as a volunteer,
Awesome.
so.
We appreciate
I just
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you
reiterate
so
that.
much.
Thank you, and I'm very happy with all you do. I just appreciate what you're doing, I do.
You know, I appreciate
It's-
what you're doing.
Yeah.
you know, as well, and I think every public board should have a retreat, should have a time to come together. It's pretty much standard practice. That kind of opportunity will give us the chance to talk about things.
Right.
Couple that with a strategic planning initiative, that is something else that the district is anticipating going into. Those activities need to converge together so that we can wrap our arms around
Sure.
action that's intentional
Right.
and fiscally responsible and targeted to goals, you know, so
Sure.
we are moving forward in a thoughtful, I believe, and professional way to
Yep.
address the issues that we want to address as a
Right.
board.
And we're all the same board members that were here when we supported that.
Exactly,
And that
yes.
doesn't mean it's definitely gonna stay the same, but we're the same people with the same, you know,
Right.
with the same ideas. So
Right.
I think, again, the patience is important. and-
Sure. Great. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Mr. Chairman, if I make a quick comment, trust me, if we move forward, you and Lindsay and Mr. Barrett will definitely be on that committee.
Okay, wonderful. We'll be ready to help. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any public input? Any more public input?
Good evening.
Good evening,
Good
Peggy.
evening.
Peggy Heward, I live in Hudson, New Hampshire. I'm here tonight to follow up on concerns that I presented last week with some additional information and concerns.
Excuse me, Peggy, is that something that's addressed on this agenda tonight?
I'm going to relate it to the transfer report that's
Is it
been...
about the transfers that are on our agenda?
On tonight.
I'm going to relate it to it.
That's not the question.
That's not the question. It's what you're having to say.
Is your questions pertaining to the agenda tonight, not
What
past?
was the past presentation
They,
related to...
They had permission.
They permission, they called
And
beforehand.
I sent you an email, and you said that you would address
That-
it, so...
And you spoke the last time I did that. That's why I did it this time for them.
No, she means the other one. You said
Okay.
we'll be
Well, then-
in the future, but-
Then
In
disregard.
in the future, I'll let you know when
Okay,
we're ready to address that.
I'll speak to the agenda tonight.
Okay, thank you.
As I looked at the agenda tonight, I noticed that the budget transfer report for this current year is being presented, along with 2 other budget transfers. So as I look at those, the concerns that I had last week and the concerns I presented to you in the email continue. This is the time of year that a large majority of the transfers are made, spending down excess budget. So I'm here tonight again to stress the importance as you go through the end of the year, to safeguard our budget and to make further suggestions that you, in the future, utilize a stronger CPA firm that not only has strength in
Order, that is
municipality.
not on the agenda,
Point of
Mr.
order, it's
Chairman.
not
Not on the agenda. You just
Sorry.
stick,
Point of
it has to
order.
be an agenda.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other public input this evening? Yes.
Cindy's so stinking cute.
Name and address, please.
I'm Margaret McQueenie from Two Manny Court, and I just have a request. I noticed that on the town's calendar, all of the boards have their meetings listed, and I was wondering if the school committee meetings could also be included on the town's calendar,
It's not our
because they're
decision,
not
right?
there.
That would be a decision
It's
for the
not.
selectmen, actually, I believe.
Is there a selectman here that could,
No.
No.
Roger?
And also,
Sanders?
that's, it's also not on
There'll
our
be a-
agenda, we have to make those rules consistent with everybody, but, yeah, it's not us.
So it's
And
just.
they're on our
would have-
website.
You would have to talk to someone at the town hall. Who would
I-
that be?
I
Who's the
did send
secretary?
an email to Roger, because wasn't he your?
No.
Yeah, he's our
Well, he's a
liaison.
select,
Your
but there
liaison.
is a, who's the secretary over there? Susan Kemp?
Yes.
So
Dawn.
Susan Kemp over at the
hall.
town hall
Okay.
handles their agendas and handles getting information out. So you might want to start with her.
Okay, because I just think it would be easier for the public and more transparent, because if we're supposed to be like one town and together, which I think we're all trying to do, that would be really helpful for the
Agreed.
people to do that. I know that there is a link on, to the schools, but that's it. It's not under the boards and committee drop-down menu, which I think would be
It's a
nice.
separate
Right.
Yes.
entity.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you
you
so
very
much.
much, and thank you for your work. I know you do a ton of work for us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other public input this evening? Seeing there be none, public input is now closed. We're gonna go to attachment 1, which is facility use requests.
This is a request from the Hudson Litchfield Rotary Club. It is a request to use the Hills House Field on June 3rd. They have submitted, it's for a road race. They have submitted their liability insurance, and we have notified the farm.
I'll make a motion that we accept that they already have their, hope they did well. Jack,
No, it's
June 3rd.
Oh, June,
June
June
3rd.
3rd.
No,
I
I'm
thought it was
laughing
just the
'cause
one,
Community
yeah.
Bill signed it.
I know, I thought he was gonna be here.
He's coming 3 weeks
I thought it
before.
was the one they just
And I
had.
You know better.
I'll make a motion that we accept the request from the Rotary Club.
Second.
Probably moved in second. You ready for a question? Seeing there be none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's a vote, I so declare it. Okay, we're gonna move on to reports of the board. Superintendent report, please.
Okay, here's the copy.
Oh, thank you.
I was asked by the board to respond to public input from the last meeting that we had, and I will right now. On May 8th, 2018, Ms. Peggy Hewitt brought concerns to the school board, indicating that the board may or may not be aware of the financial practices of the school district administration. Ms. Hewitt stated that the board should be more involved with budget transfers and that a more prudent budget should be provided to the public and the town budget committee. The board and the district administration take these matters seriously and proceeded to review them. Ms. Hewitt's first concern was that the board only received 20 budget transfers, while 400 were processed during the year. That is true, and is completely compliant with our budget transfer policy and any relevant RSA mandates. Budget transfers of $5,000 or more go to the board, and all others are authorized by district administration. In addition to the 20 budget transfers the board approved, the other 380 budget transfers were shared with the board on more than one occasion in the monthly financial reports and the quarterly budget transfer reports. The board sees every budget transfer, but is only obligated to vote on and approve budget transfers over $5,000. Ms. Hewitt's second concern was that there is money left over at the end of the year and that the district uses for various expenditures. She wanted to be assured that the board is aware of what these monies are spent on. Monies that are not spent in particular line items do go to a fund balance at the end of the year. The fund balance can either go back to the public or be spent as deemed necessary by the board and district administration. Every proposed use of this money is shared with the board by district administration, and it is either approved or not by the board. It must be noted that this money was appropriated a year and a half previous to this point in time. Many conditions and needs can change over this time, and the district administration, under the guidance of the board, is given the authority by the laws that govern school districts in New Hampshire and the Hudson School District policies to use the money as deemed necessary by the board and district administration. A good example of that money use was seen this year. Money appropriated for other line items was not used, and the board felt that building security and student safety was a priority after what happened in Parkland, Florida in February of 2018. The board was told of the amount of money in the fund balance and directed district administration to use some of it for improving security and safety at all of the schools. A year and a half ago, the need to accelerate school safety and security improvements was not planned. However, the needs of the district changed, and so did the priority of the board. Ms. Heward alleged that the administration purposely created budget transfers under $5,000 so the board would not have to see them per the terms of the budget transfer policy. Each transfer under $5,000 is created by project. Example would be like a flooring project at a school. The total projects exceeded $5,000, but budget transfers are reported within projects, not as a sum of all the projects. Each budget transfer met the accepted criteria of the Hudson School District policy and state law. In addition, it is important to emphasize that the board sees each and every budget transfer in the monthly financial statements and the quarterly budget transfer reports. A situation where budget transfers were purposely made to be under $5,000 to avoid the scrutiny of the board cannot happen because of these two reports. Ms. Hewitt stated that money appropriated in one fiscal year was being spent on budget items in the budget for the following year. This is a legal and fiscally responsible practice. If there is a fund balance at the end of the year and a budget item for the next year can be satisfied with that money, it allows the district to make sure that the particular budget item can be taken care of with money in hand. Further, Ms. Hewitt alleged that the district administration is overstating need and using the money for other reasons. This is false. The district administration must predict use of money 1.5 years into the future and uses past history and predicted needs to accomplish that. For example, if a certain amount of money is projected to be used on a teacher at Nottingham West and that teacher transfers to Hills Garrison, a budget transfer must occur. Something of that nature would be impossible to predict ahead of time, and this represents one of the many things that happens which cannot be predicted. That is why the law and our policies gives us the leniency so these conditions can be accommodated given the operational needs of the school district. Ms. Hewitt's final question was, were you, meaning the board, aware of all the money that was left over at the end of the year and what they, district administration, are using it on? The answer to that question is yes. The board is fully aware of the spending and money amounts, and the board gives the district administration guidance on how to use the money. There are some important overarching tenets to consider in the funding of the district, and they are as follows. The Hudson School District and the board follow and adhere to the policies that govern financial matters within the district with integrity and fidelity. These policies were vetted by the New Hampshire School Boards Association and found to be sound and compliant with the law. All RSAs have been followed with integrity and fidelity. We are allowed to do this by law. What we are allowed to do by law is all that we do. The school board is informed of all transfers, initiatives that need financial resources, and any other matter that has to do with spending money in the district. The district administration does not make unilateral financial decisions. In closing, the administration will continue our practice of being compliant with all federal, state, and local laws and policies. Together with the board, the administration is committed to ensuring that we continuously seek to be as effective and efficient in our financial practices and responsibilities. We consider this matter closed. Thank you. That's my only report for today.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Assistant Superintendent's report.
I have been busy interviewing for various positions in the district. I am also doing some end-of-year meetings and looking at all the renewal requests throughout the district as far as curriculum renewal requests. And that's really been taking a lot of my time. So, that's it.
That's it?
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Director of Special Services report.
So, in addition to interviewing candidates for our vacant positions, I've spent some time preparing for our next CPAC event. We've spoken about that quite a bit over the course of the last few months. Our next event is coming up on Thursday evening. It's going to be at the public library at 6 o'clock. The format is very different this time. We're opening the floor for the first hour for questions and answers. What are public questions about how does the special education process work? The way the meeting is going to be structured is we'll ask people to submit their questions on index cards. That way, if we get multiple questions at the same thing, we can group them together. And then once that first hour is complete, our CPAC parents, who've been integral in planning all of this, will take the floor. Our school staff will step out and they will have an open conversation with the families who have come. All of that information that's going to be used or generated will be used in planning our next year. What events might be of interest to the public who would like to come to our meetings? What topics are really burning topics for our families in our district? So that's going to be very useful information. So we're really hoping for a nice turnout. We've also had some interest from other districts wanting to come to our meeting on Thursday so that they can take a look at our model and use that to build their own parent network. So that's exciting. In addition to that, spent some time in the last couple of weeks meeting with my counterparts in other districts, as well as we also had our state meeting, our directors meeting for the whole state. The focus in both of those meetings has been on social emotional learning and specially designed instruction. This past week on Friday, I met with the state, the directors across the state, and we were able to view the documentary Paper Tigers, which was very interesting if you had the opportunity to see it. If you have not, it was definitely worthwhile. It shows really what happened in a specific alternative school in Walla Walla, Washington. And it got up close and personal with some of the students who were there, some of their successes, some of their significant challenges, and how the design of the school was integral in some of those successes. It did not paint a glossy picture of what the kids were living and experiencing and working through, but it really did highlight some of the things that they were able to achieve with the right kinds of support. So it was a valuable experience.
Awesome, thank you. Business Administrators report, please.
I did meet with the elementary principals, and we went over to the Wyndham School District to see Champions before and after school program in Works. So that was fantastic. We did get to see how things were run. The students were in the after-school program, so we got a lot of good information seeing how they work. It is up on our website at this point. The registration forms are there. There is a link for all of the elementary schools and the middle schools, so we are moving forward with that. And as you'll see as we go through the board packet, it is beginning in the new budget, so you'll see a lot of RFPs that we've had in the last week.
So have they made decisions about hiring our people, or?
They are in the process of interviewing them at this point.
Okay,
yes.
good, thank you.
Excuse me. Have we sent out any correspondence to parents of kids who were in the other program?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They had received originally something from National Adult Learning Center saying that they would be gone. All students have since received an email saying the new vendor that we have chosen.
Okay.
And how to contact them.
Okay, so we've only sent the email, no mailing? Okay.
The only time that the elementary schools send mailing is for the parents that don't have email addresses. So they do get the hard
But that was, okay, that's what I was worried about.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, quick
Yes.
question. For the senior staff, how are we doing on hiring? Positions starting to fill up, or?
In total?
Yeah, in total.
It's not a bad season at all.
No.
We're pretty fortunate on the quality of candidate and the amount of applicants for each position. Yeah, we're not in bad shape at all.
If I can just respond to that as well. We are really fortunate in being in the beginning of the season of hiring instead of at the tail end, that in subsequent years we've kind of been at the tail end. So this has been real exciting to be able to offer people that are quality people a position first, so that we kind of snag them before anybody else does. So I'm excited about some of the positions, some of the people that you're going to hear about tonight. we're real excited about bringing them on board.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So that's due to what, just chance that we're at the beginning, or is
No.
that something we did purposely?
No, we're being proactive in getting.
Okay, good,
yep.
good. All right, great, thank you.
Awesome. Any committee reports? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I went to Hudson Cable last Monday. As you can see, we have a new screen, so from here on in, we're going to project electronically. And they'll be able to, and then this is all technical stuff, but they're going to be able to take their info from the computer and dump it right on to the TV.
Right,
So
okay.
it'll go, so
So-
what we're seeing, they'll see
Right.
on the TV
So,
screen at
so we're
home.
not filming a projector? so-
Correct.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Right. The other thing is, which I'm pretty excited about, hopefully, and they have a different budget cycle because they use a revolving fund, but they're looking into purchasing all new HD cameras for this, and changing the cameras' angles, so they're not looking like, they're looking at our top of our heads. So,
Don't want that.
and well, the problem is they don't want to change the aesthetics of, the library, but the new cameras are, there's security things so they can turn and move them and all that
I have
stuff.
a question.
Yeah.
So what I hear the most complaint about from people is sound.
Sound is,
So how is that being addressed?
I don't know.
If I could say, like, during that presentation, it dawned on me that maybe what we need to have is a handheld mic, if
Yeah.
someone's gonna be away from the
that's
mic.
good, like the one you
So,
had.
but I have to check with, I guess, with Mike or whoever,
Yeah.
to see if that can be hooked into this system. But,
Yeah,
we'll-
because I bet nobody could, I couldn't hear some of the
Right.
kids from back there.
I got it in my
So-
notes to check on
Yeah.
that tomorrow.
I tried to move one of the microphones because young
I,
ladies.
you know,
I
it's not
know.
a good system. These aren't gonna
Very
fit there.
quiet.
Right.
That's-
Yeah, these are made for close.
Yeah.
Okay, well, myself and Darcy attended the Budget Committee seminar, which was very informative. Being on the Budget Committee for some years now, there were some things that were brought to our attention that, as far as scope of the job and that type of thing, that we'll probably discuss at a later time. But it was very informative. If anybody has a chance to go to one of those seminars, I highly suggest it, because you get to hear about what you can really do and what you can't do, and what's supposed to be looked at and what's not supposed to be looked at. So it was an eye-opener.
Yeah.
That's about it.
So I know that's not time for me to speak, because I'm not a board member for the committee, but on that note, I will be presenting to the Hudson Budget Committee on June 6th, just talking about school district items. And I know it's June 6th, because that's my wife's birthday, so I will be paying the price for that one, but I will be there that Wednesday night.
Try to get you out as quick as possible.
I appreciate that.
You are a board member. Technically, you are.
Oh, thank you, that's
It's
true.
just
Yep.
not a,
Right,
you're just a
non-voting.
non-voting member.
Yep.
Any other committee reports?
The policy committee met, but we're still in dialoguing around things, I think would be appropriate.
Well, we just don't have it formalized yet.
Right.
Yeah.
It's evolving.
Okay, attachment number 2.
This is Heather's activity report for you for the month of April. As you continue to see, her numbers keep going up with the number of families that she reaches out to, with the number of agency contacts that she has done. She has been really active this year in supporting our at-risk families.
Awesome. Okay, letter of resignation, attachment 3.
So this letter is being brought to you because the person is asking to get out of their contract early. There is the library media specialist at Hills Garrison is going on to a different position at a higher education, a place of higher education, and their training starts June 4th, and she's asking to get out of her contract on June 1st of this year,
And when does the contract run?
June 30th.
To the end, so can I just add?
Yes.
Do they have someone to replace her at that, from now until the end of school?
Not that I'm aware of. It would be open to a sub, like any other position would be.
Roughly 2
30 days
weeks.
to Wellington.
Roughly 2 weeks.
Yes, to the 20th, so from June 1st to June 20th.
Can I say- So, yeah, this no cool, like, no bueno here.
I'm not
This is
gonna-
not
I'm
good.
not
You
gonna
don't,
vote
you
for
don't
that.
leave your job 2 weeks and leave us in a hole. I don't know if this needs our approval or not.
Requires a
Yeah,
vote.
I'm gonna vote no. I just think that, good luck to her in her
And the
future
other job
endeavors,
should
but
almost understand
pay
that
attention
she's
to the
in a
contract,
school
yeah.
district and there's kids, and you're leaving them, just stick it out to the end. I mean, like, to me, that you gotta be a little bit more understanding than that. I understand there's training, but I'm sorry.
she had a contract. Contracts are contracts.
Yeah, I'm not.
So,
Someone needs to make a motion, so if no one makes a motion, it goes
no
nowhere.
motion.
So I make a motion to accept.
I'm going to second it just for discussion. I may withdraw,
Properly-
Mr. Chairman.
It's been properly, I'm sorry?
I may withdraw after, I want to ask a question.
Properly moved in second and ready for question.
All right, so help me out here. So she signed a contract to June 30th.
Correct.
She wants to leave on June 1st
Correct.
because her other job starts June 4th.
Correct.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to withdraw my second.
Do we have a second? Fails. Attachment 4, the financial report, please.
I'm sorry. As you can see in this month's financial statement, we have an anticipated fund balance of approximately $511,977. If you do remember, we do have budgeted for the tax rate for this year, a fund balance of $400,000, as well as we did have a warrant article for $100,000 to transfer money into the maintenance fund, the capital reserve. You can see that we did have a shortfall in revenue this year in both our Medicaid and, I just lost my train of thought, and catastrophic aid. And then the savings in the financial statement, you will see are from, we did have a large savings in special education, as well as some savings in utilities, as well as salaries.
Question?
Yes.
You said there was a large savings in special education. Is there a tripping factor for that?
I wouldn't say that there's necessarily an interpreting factor. We did have a student who was budgeted to continue an out-of-district program who returned to us, so that certainly is a piece. But simply that student needs at this point did not warrant the expenses. That doesn't mean that they won't in the future. It just means that this year they did not.
So it's one student? that
One
came
student
back?
did return.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman, thank you. So for the CAD aid, was that because we have fewer students, or is it?
So
you help me out with
catastrophic aid is
CAD
wonderfully
analysis?
complicated.
Yeah, yeah.
And as we move forward, it's gonna be called something different because they changed the name, so you'll never hear that language again. But it's the same thing. So catastrophic aid is a system that is put in place that once you spend a set dollar amount, you can submit for some of that cost to come back to you. Every year they set a specific cap, and then you can submit for a portion of those funds to come back. You never get all of the funds that originally you submit for, because once all of the districts in the state submit their dollars, then they look at how much was actually allocated to the state, and there's a proportional share that's figured out.
Right.
So if you don't spend to the cap, you can't submit for the monies. So as that cap continues to climb year after year, fewer and fewer students across the state are eligible to be reimbursed on. So that is part of that process. And the same holds true for Medicaid. Medicaid reimbursement is a portion of the funds for services that we're already providing for Medicaid eligible students. You can submit for some of those funds to have up to half of the cost of the service reimbursed. But again, it's a portion of what we're already doing for students who are eligible, so that you don't necessarily know from year to year that it's going to be a set dollar amount the next year. you can make a reasonable estimate.
Thank you, Rachel.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we're going to, budget transfer report.
That is attachment number 5. You will see that it lists the budget transfers that are from July 1 of 17 through May 7th of 18. It does list them by object code, so you will see that overall, as far, most of the transfers that are done are usually a matter of moving a position from one location to another. So you will see that although we transferred out of salaries 314,000, we transferred in 289,000. So the offset is we moved $24,000 from salaries. You will see down below that we moved approximately $5,500 from benefits. Going on to page 2, we moved what we call purchase services, which is all of tuition accounts, repairs to the building. We moved approximately $24,000. In utilities, it was about $29,000. And then as far as what we call supplies, but that also does include, it is for supplies, but the object codes are set by the state, so although there are 600 series, it might not qualify as an actual supply. That was approximately $30,000 in change. All of those transfers did in turn increase technology by about $114,000. And you will see that that transfer is in the packet as you come forward. So that actual transfer has not been approved at this time. It is one of the attachments in this agenda. I don't know if anybody has any other questions.
Nope. No questions? Thank you. Recommended actions manifest has been signed?
Yes.
I believe they're all signed, Mr. Chairman.
And minutes for 5/7/18. Need to review and approve?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to change one thing on public input. It should be Diana.
That's okay. Diana Lamont?
T-H.
E.
E.
The last name's wrong also?
Yes.
So it's Lamothe. Thank you so much. Anything else?
Make a motion that we accept the school board minutes of May 7th.
Second.
Getting properly moved in second. You ready for the question? Seeing there be no question, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's a vote, I so declare it. Thank you. Okay. Okay, budget transfer attachment number 7.
That is a transfer that you did receive on the last agenda. That was, although it's attachment number 7, it is transfer number 8, and it is from the high school requesting purchase of additional round cafeteria tables in the amount of $11,464.25. I know that the board did request additional information from Mr. Beals, and I have released that memo to all of you at this time.
I think the question I had was, we're replacing broken tables. Was there a real need for new tables at this point?
And I think if you, he is replacing some of the older tables that are, we have some tables that have been repaired, so he is trying to replace those tables. And he will also have no spares. There will be no spares. Some of the square tables will either be taken out of service or they will be used in a different location.
Yes.
Have you sat at those tables?
The round tables, yeah.
Which do you prefer?
I like the round tables more. It fits less people, but I noticed that like this year feels like the lunch periods are kind of smaller. Like there's less people, which is strange because we cut down on one of the lunch periods. But I noticed there's like a lot of empty room throughout the CAF, so I think the round tables would be better fitting.
I'll make a motion to purchase 7 round cafeteria tables. Yeah, that's the original one, right? He wanted 7? That's, he's just giving a better explanation on this page. I
Yes,
take it.
yes.
I've sat on them, and I personally think they were so much easier to use. If you sit in the middle of that long bench, you can't get out. You're stuck in it.
The only question that I have with that is, are they actually needed? Has created a space where they can't have lunch, or is this something that we want to just add right now? That's the question I have.
Yeah, I'm still not sure after reading Steve's memo. I'm not sure that question was answered when we asked it agenda meeting.
Right.
Well, I think he's saying there would be, the tables that they have, some of them could not be used in another location because they're not usable anymore? Is that that's what he's trying to get at? Is
Yes.
that
Is
they've
he-
tried to fix them, but they can't use them anymore?
From what I read here, they've been repaired.
Right.
So are they out of commission, or can they last?
He has some
a
that
while
have
longer?
been welded. He does try to purchase new cafeteria tables every year, as well as all of the schools do. They try to rotate inventory. So he is trying to replace some of the ones that either have been welded, because he's still, although they've been welded, he's not sure how long they will stay good. He has had some of the tops replaced on some of the tables, he did say, but he is looking for, one of the things is they're also very heavy for custodians, so he's looking at, because they have to move them in and out so many times, he is looking for, the round tables are smaller and more lightweight.
But they fit less kids.
Correct.
And let me ask one more question. I know we have a motion on the table. I'm reading, it said 12 tables here, and then I got,
It has 12 tables in it.
okay.
The small cap.
Oh, all right.
The round tables are already in the small calf. He's looking towards moving the round tables into the larger calf.
So he's asking for 7 tables or 6 tables?
7 tables here. Well, yeah, you're getting confused because he's explaining what he has. It,
Let me put my glasses on.
He's looking to purchase 7 cafeteria tables.
So, and how much are
This
they?
one here, so go back to the, not that one, the other one.
They're,
The next page.
about $1,300 a piece.
How much?
1,300 thereabouts.
13 each?
This is his request. On attachment 7. Yeah, he does, on attachment 7. Go to attach, yeah.
One more quick question, Mr. Chairman.
Flip
What
it
is the
over the other side.
lifespan on these?
What?
I am not sure.
What did you?
He does say the current ones are between 7 and 12 years old.
But we don't know how long the table lasts.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
So what is it, 1,300 times how much? How many?
Let me just divide it out.
7?
91?
It's about $1,600, not $1,300. He's
Each?
looking to
Or
transfer
it's all
11,
together?
he's looking to transfer $11,464, so to buy 7 tables, it would be about $1,600 a piece.
Okay, so I would just like to say something. Before I would approve this, I'd want to know if there's other, it just seems like a lot of money, and I'm not hearing that we need to replace this because they're gonna fall apart. I'm hearing they've been repaired. And I get the round table aesthetically is more pleasing, it's lighter, but it's a lot of money. And I just want to know in this whole district, does somebody else need that money more?
Okay.
Is there more of a need in another school for books or for, you know, something that's really broken. I guess I need to know that for my personal.
Do you get a discount buying more, or are they the same price if you buy?
Same price.
Right. And how long does it take to get them? Like, if you were, because the thing is you gotta have stuff in case things break. And so, you know, if you don't have enough tables, that's an
Right.
issue. But
So we give each principal the opportunity to use their school funds for what they deem necessary. So in Steve's, for the high school alone,
Okay.
Steve is saying that this is
Okay,
what
so this
he-
is transfer within the high school budget.
Right.
From where to where?
From all the different, flip your page over.
From
Flip
all-
your page
Oh,
over.
I didn't know there was a backup.
No, not that page, your original
He's
page.
using-
of
I'm sorry, I
budget,
didn't
and
see
it
that.
says every single
He's
thing on
taking
the
all of
back.
his supply and furniture. See it?
from this fiscal.
Okay,
From
I was
other-
confused, I didn't notice that. Okay, I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to second Ms. Langlis's motion.
It's been properly moved in second.
Okay,
Any for
so
question?
it's coming within his budget, I understand that. I got you.
Yeah, I know.
No question? All in favor, saying aye?
Aye.
All opposed? Nay?
Mr. Chairman, can I
Good
make
explanation,
a quick point here? One of the reasons I moved this forward was, we have, some of these, budget transfers are coming out of furniture, some of them come out of furniture replacement, some of them are coming out of repairs, and some of them are coming out of supplies, so I feel comfortable in making that.
Yeah, well, now that I know that there are a
It's
lot
the
of
high
that,
school.
and it's not coming from, so now I'm more comfortable. And I didn't see the back, so my bad.
Yeah, because you were looking at the
Yeah,
one
I was
that he
looking
was
at
giving
this, I
me.
was very confused. Okay, I feel better about it. But it was a good question to ask because we are not frivolous with our spending.
Okay, which one we on now?
Number eight.
Attachment
That
eight.
was it, wasn't
Mr.
it?
Price.
No.
No,
I would
well,
just
this
offer
is
one other
eight, it used to be
comment.
9.
I know we couldn't necessarily answer the question, Stacy, you had a question about are they needed, and we couldn't necessarily answer that, but I would also offer that a round table is more than just aesthetic, because it does offer a degree of almost community as
Yeah, that
that a
makes
long
sense.
table does not, and as we moved into more a trauma-informed approach, we've been studying that for over a year. Round tables are definitely more in line with the direction that we're trying to go.
Absolutely. No, that makes sense, and you're making eye time. Yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure. I feel comfortable now. Karen explained it.
Okay. You said we're at number 8 again, right?
Attachment
We're at
number
8, but it
Eight.
used to be 9, but
Transfer
it's
9.
really 8.
Okay.
No, it's attachment number 8, and it's school board transfer
School board
number 9.
transfer nine, that's-
That is the second reading on a transfer that is coming to you from the Director of IT, and he is looking at transferring $21,910 to, the memo is there, to purchase a network switch to replace existing limiting switching infrastructure at the middle school. He goes on to tell you how the equipment is 100% full, and as we move forward, it offers the expansion necessary to support one-to-one student devices at the middle school.
Which we already approved, correct?
Right.
And you're gonna
So-
see the
okay,
transfer down
Right,
Yeah.
so like, we already approved the one-on-one, so you're
Right.
like, we can't not approve this, because it would be ridiculous.
Exactly.
And this is the
I
second
will make a
reading.
motion to approve attachment number 8, please. Otherwise, we'll have
And
devices.
properly moved in second. Any question? The only issue with this is that I wish we knew about this before the one-to-one came.
He did say the whole thing is one
This is,
thing.
this
I
is not,
just- This was, as
this
I
wasn't the one we discussed.
This isn't the same one that
No.
he came
No, I
forward
took
with
that- I
at the
pulled
other
that
one.
Right, that one we pulled out. That one's not, this
one
is
was-
totally different.
This was the second.
This was
reading.
read, this was
I
first
just
read.
saw the word
Yeah, I know,
switch.
I agree.
And-
I agree.
I did remove.
My heart stopped also.
Yeah,
So, but this was first read on May 7th, though.
I don't like the word switch.
Gotcha. Never see switch again.
I did pull,
Mr. Chairman, I have a
Yes.
question. And this might not even be something you can answer, Karen.
probably.
So, going back to our budget a year and a half ago, would we have known that we needed this a year and a half ago?
Definitely not.
Right.
Definitely not.
That'd be my
See,
answer, too.
and that's a piece of the puzzle people need to realize. That we're moving, tech is moving at a speed faster than we'll ever be able to keep up to. So, that was my
Darcy?
point.
Good
Thank you.
point. Darcy?
So can you remind me about the professional development and why?
Yes,
It's 200.
it's coming out of special ed because special ed was encompassing,
And that was an error.
in, and it was out of contracted services, not professional development.
Okay.
So it was an error in the label. We didn't fix it on the transfer. We should have. That was our fault. That was our fault.
Cool.
All right.
Been probably moved in second. Any more question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's a vote, I so declare it. School district internet access, second reading?
Yes, so this is the second reading for computer security, email, and internet communications. The policy that it's replacing is behind it. You had requested to have that policy behind it, it is there. This policy was created by a conglomeration of different policies that were available in the state. Mr. Hancock put them together, and this is the best collection of all the criteria that we need for a good policy. The first reading was on 5/7, so this would be second reading.
I'll make a motion that we approve attachment number 9, computer security, email, and internet communications. And is the policies along with it? Like attached to it? It's all one?
The,
The personal computing support policy, is that?
that is,
separate?
that is the policy that's replacing.
Okay, so that's the old one.
Right,
Okay.
this, you wanted to see the old one
Yeah,
that was replacing.
okay,
We
got it.
added it in this time for you.
All right.
Did you get a second? I don't know.
No.
Second.
Been probably moved in second. Any question?
So, well, this is something I think employees might benefit of seeing regularly. Because even if you're here for every year, it's a really good reminder.
Yep.
You know, so is there a mechanism that,
We'll make one. No, it's a good
because
idea.
it's really important.
Yep.
You know, and that's.
No, I agree 100%. If you're gonna be held accountable to something, you should be aware of it, so we'll make sure that
If you
they're.
heard it in, you know, especially it's a new policy, so that's a way that you'll be putting it out anyway, I would expect. But, I think people need to be aware of that when they're dealing with very important employers.
Yes.
We do have an automatic push out of all the policies that have been approved to everybody in the district. So everybody will be getting this new policy now that it's been approved.
But we'll also make sure that it's done more than once a year. I put that
Even
down.
just annually, because when you're
Yeah.
not just
Sure.
hiring
Yeah.
someone, you get it, but.
Yep.
Right.
And all the new teachers get it every time, but not
Because they
everyone
do.
gets it every,
Not
so we'll make sure that they do.
Definitely an important policy.
Not a problem.
So there was, we got a motion in a second, right?
Yeah, you gotta say, somebody.
Any other question? All in favor, saying aye?
Aye.
Aye. The vote, so declare.
Can I just ask one favor?
Yes.
Could we, when we continue forward with bringing the policies up and having the old one, is there some way just to like, put like, it's, you know how you put draft across something, can you just put
Oh, okay.
old, can you just put old
Sure.
across it?
Sure.
Because,
Watermark it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Watermark it.
only because it's hard, you know,
Yep.
if people are reading this, then it's hard for people
Okay.
to distinguish
Gail should.
where one stops.
Yeah, understood.
Yeah.
Especially if they don't align exactly, it's
Right.
not like
Yep.
you're
Yes.
tracking.
And they're all different names,
Titles,
so
the titles.
Right.
names are
Right.
So
all
this- yeah.
called something different.
Yep,
Thank you.
my pleasure. You prepared for the next one?
We're prepared. Advanced coursework.
Oh, we have to do.
School district
sorry.
internet
Yeah,
access.
School-
We have to do attachment 10 first.
Yeah, discussion 10, school district internet access.
So,
Second reading.
school district internet access, this is it's more concise, more efficient than the previous policy, which was done in 2002. And so we thought that was about time we updated that one. 16 years is, in this day and age, is long enough. So, school district internet access replaces computer information systems use. And some of this information is also in that very first policy that you just approved. So this was first read on 5/7/18, 2 weeks ago, and it's ready for the second reading.
I'll make a motion that we approve attachment number 10, school district internet access.
Second.
Been properly moved in second, we ready for a question?
Seeing there's no question, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, to vote, I so declare it. Advanced coursework, advanced placement courses, and STEM dual and concurrent enrollments.
So this is the
Second
second reading of this policy that we brought to you on May 7th regarding the memorandum of understanding that needs to be signed by the community colleges for those STEM courses that our students have. It's actually the reimbursement from the governor's task force, the reimbursement of those courses for those students that have attended STEM courses in the community college system.
I'll make a motion that we approve attachment number 11.
Second.
Been properly moved to second. Ready for a question? Seeing there be no questions, all in favor, simply saying aye.
Aye.
To vote, so declare it. New business, vendor contract, Dr. H.O. Smith School Cafeteria Flooring Renovation, attachment number 12.
Now we begin FY '19. In our budget, we did have to replace the cafeteria flooring at Dr. H.O. Smith School. We did go out to bid. We did only receive one bid. This is a urethane-based poured floor. The bid was in the amount of $33,871. In the budget, we did have $27,400, so we are a little bit short. We will have to use the H.O. Smith building repair funds to cover the difference. But recommendation of the facilities director is to move forward in replacing the floor.
I'll make a motion that we approve attachment 12 for the flooring at H.O. Smith.
Second.
Properly moved to second. Any question?
Yeah.
Yes.
The fact that we only had one bid is troubling to me.
We did send out to 5 different companies. We have used this company in the past. They have done some work at, I think it says in here, Memorial, and they've done some at the high school. There are not a lot of vendors, and with the economy the way it is, we are seeing that people are not bidding. We're not getting as many bids in a lot of the items than we normally did in the past.
So we don't know if this is a good price, it's just the price, right?
Well, we had an original quote at the time we did the budget, a year and a half ago.
Okay.
That would have been at the 27.4, that's what we used for budgeting. So it did come in higher than we anticipated.
So we put the RFPs up on the website,
And then I also advertised it in the newspaper.
And how long do we leave them up for? Typically?
As far as on our website, they are left until the date that the bid closes.
What's the standard? Is there probably a
Depending
standard?
on what the item is, usually 2 to 3 weeks. Some of them are longer, like the roofing one is a little bit longer. So it depends on where it falls into board meetings.
See, I get concerned when we only have one bid on something.
Mr. Chairman,
Same thing.
Can I just make a comment? This is not unheard of right now. The economy has been going strong for 5-6 years. They're just, I mean, physically, if you owned a flooring company that did this, you have to do it in 2 months, span July and August. And so you're only.
School year, so
And
the
this-
time
yeah,
frame is
Right,
limited.
the time frame is limited
And-
for them.
Right, now you have to bring on employees, and there are no employees out there so this is very common right now. Most of the time, everyone's getting 1-2 bids. I get phone calls all the time, I'm like, please bid on this. And people talk about like the request for bid, but 90% of this is done in the coffee shop. When we hear about big contracts, we hear about it. We go, hey, somebody's doing a job in Wyndham over at, then they'll call. I mean, the network is, just like you in your community college, it's the same thing in the general contractors. Years ago, we used to subscribe to the Dodge reports, but now with the computer, we know what's going on, all the bids.
We use any
All of a
local
sudden-
vendors, and we also Google any in the area, and we send the RFP to all of those vendors.
Yeah.
In this kind of job here, there's very few companies that do it. There's probably, in New Hampshire, maybe 3.
So is there ever a procedure, and I know I'm not supposed to get into procedure,
No,
so
that's
I
okay.
feel like I'm stepping into it a little bit.
That's okay.
Where you like, if you have an insufficient number of bidders, that you would extend it. And I know there's risk with the timing of being able to do
We have done
this.
that in the past.
Because,
Also, because this has to be done during the
Yeah, I know
summer,
that.
if
I
I
get that.
extend it, I would have to extend it to next summer, because I know that I'm not, if I didn't get any bids now for this summer, I'm not going to get any more, because companies are already busy at this time.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a quick comment? As far as like going out for a bid, so say we went out for a bid, and right now we have a number of 29,000. If I was a contractor and I knew it was going out for a bid, I would put in a proposal for like 35 or 37. And this person who went in at 29 is gonna come back at 34 or 30.
That is the disadvantage for a school district, is all of our line items in our budget are public knowledge. So when we go out to look for vendors to do the projects, they can go into our budget and see how much was budgeted.
and they sort of dance around close to that amount.
Well, it
Sometimes.
was, yeah, but remember, this was already, we had a budget from this like year and a half ago, so.
Yes, Patty.
This is gonna be very surprising for a lot of you, but I actually know about this and what a good price is, so. I just did this exact thing, and I know the exact area that's over there, and I'm gonna tell you that this is a,
We've been very happy with
this
the
is a,
service.
this is
They
a
are
very,
phenomenal.
you might think it's high, but this is actually a
what's
very good price for this flooring and the amount of space they're putting it on there. I know that surprises you all, but see, I do know something.
You did?
Yes.
You know, Lee is the expert on this stuff, this is his business, and if I trust that he says there's only 3 in the state and that this is a common issue, that's good enough for me. It's not my area of expertise, it's his, and I think that may, I mean, it's uncomfortable having one bidder, but it sounds like, you know, a seller's market, and we've got no choice. So,
I have one question.
Yes,
The floor itself right now, is it really in bad condition? I'm
yes.
embarrassed to say I haven't seen it.
Yes, very bad.
That's all I need to know. Thank you.
My other comment would be is I do go on the direction of the facilities director. That's his forte more than mine.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, I just wanted, yeah, I'm looking at strictly from.
Yes. Oh, and I
Like I would do the
understand.
same thing with people, if you only have one applicant, open up the search, you have one bid, you gotta step back and
You
just
will
have
see.
this conversation, and see what are the
You will
variables and
see in
factors that.
in a couple of these that I only
I
did receive
did
one
see
bid.
that. I
And then
did
when you
read
get to
it.
the bigger one, like the roof, is where we received the multiple.
Yeah, I did read it, that's why I was, I know this happens more than once.
We have a motion on the floor?
I made a motion.
Motion has been second. All in favor by saying aye?
Aye.
It's a vote, I so declare it. Vendor contract, Library Street School window replacement, attachment number 13.
We did go out to bid, as you are aware, we did all of the window replacement at H.O. Smith. We are moved on to Library Street School for a window replacement. We did do the first section in the budget for FY19. We did go out to bid, once again. We did only receive one bid, which was Portland Glass, in the amount of $49,950. That is the same amount that was budgeted. Portland Glass did do the windows both at the high school and at H.O. Smith, and we have been very happy with their service.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to accept attachment 13.
second.
Been properly moved second. Ready for a question? Yes.
Okay, windows aren't really a specialty item, they're not like a floor. So these windows are $5,000 a piece, basically?
It is a specialty.
Yeah, it's a
See the
special
size of the
window.
windows?
No, no.
Do you
these
see the
are-
size of the windows?
Well, that's
Yeah,
where I was gonna
these
go,
are
my
all
next
custom
question.
windows. These are.
I get that they're custom, can I talk first?
Yeah,
I
sure.
understand that they're custom, and I understand that they're rectangular and they have to be measured to fit into those particular holes. So if, Karen, could you just tell
Well,
me, like, how big, are they as big as like these windows here, or are they?
Oh, no, they're much bigger.
Okay, so that
Much
gives
bigger.
me some context,
Much bigger
because I
than-
really couldn't imagine what they were.
If you were, when you leave tonight, if you were driving by Library Street School, they are the windows in the front of the building.
That's what I thought in my head, so
Yeah.
I was trying to.
They're like walls of windows.
Yeah. But still, it does feel, I mean, there are a lot of window vendors.
We have to
And I would
do,
say that the difference is that we're not looking at the same kind of,
And we are doing each building in sections.
yeah.
We are also trying to do some of the SAU building as well.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, the term, the windows cost $4,000 a piece. It's a lot more than that. They have to be manufactured,
I
they have to
understand.
be installed, they have to be insured, and they have to be maintained. So.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I have
And
a
the
family member
companies-
who was in this
No, I
business,
know.
so I
I'm just-
understand that fully.
It's more than just
Clear motion
purchasing
on the floor?
windows.
Yeah, we do. It was,
Is there a
yeah, we
second?
did. It was-
Properly moved to second. We're ready for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so vote, so clear.
I
Oh,
didn't say aye, I
nope,
said no. I
sorry.
think
It's 4-1, please. Darcy.
And can I qualify my no, that it would be, if we had more bids, I'd feel more comfortable?
Yes.
We have in the past, Four Windows had more than one bid. We have another local vendor that I was very surprised that they did not bid, which probably just means that they're busy this summer.
Gotcha.
Because usually I do get two, there's two that are very competitive.
Okay. Vendor contract award, Auburn High School bathroom flooring renovation.
That is one thing that was budgeted in the FY19 budget as well. Once again, it is the poured floor. You will find that we do have other sections at the high school. They came in at $29,997. We do have in the budget $40,000 for this item, but the $40,000 does include the fixtures, ceiling tiles, and lights that we will move on with after the floor is complete.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to
Yes.
make a motion to accept attachment 14.
I'll second.
So probably moved to second. Ready for a question?
Wish there were more bids.
Yes.
I get this.
I
is a
understand, I do
special-
understand that.
I do have a question.
Yes.
This is gonna cause a problem, I know it. I know it. If and when we discuss about renovations,
I was gonna say the same thing.
aren't these bathrooms gonna be part of that?
No.
Oh, we meet at the high school?
What about the lot?
If we discuss, yes.
Including the locker room?
But you're looking at
So-
if it passed this year, and then you're looking at 3 years out probably before those bathrooms would be
I
ready.
understand that, but are the bathrooms in that bad condition, they can't last those 3 years?
This is Hudson Memorial.
I'm just being,
The bathrooms
I know
at the
I'm
high,
causing trouble.
the bathrooms at the
Oh,
high
yeah.
school are not in good condition.
You need to, you need to start using the bathrooms at different places.
Maybe I can get a, I was trying to be polite.
The reason why I'm asking this question is because we had some people here earlier. We're gonna be talking about it, it's gonna be inevitable that we're gonna be talking about the situation. And we have no idea right now what we're going to push forward with. I don't wanna get to a point where we're gonna do this thing, and then we're doing stuff before it, and it's gonna clash. And then now we gotta rip that out that we just did to do something else.
It also depends on what we decide for renovation, that it might not be the renovation of that.
That's what I'm saying. We haven't made that decision yet,
Right,
so I don't
right.
wanna do something new and then have to demo it a year, 2 years on it, because that's just a waste of money. You understand what I'm saying?
So this is for,
That's why I'm asking the question.
Sure. Is
Are
it-
they in that bad of shape?
Is there any,
Is there a health code that we're not?
is there any
following?
information that we can gather for you and move this to the next
Why don't you
meeting?
go there?
Do you want to
go to the
speak,
third
Beth?
floor?
Go to the bathroom.
They won't let me in the school?
Yes, they do.
They won't let me?
Beth, what about the bathroom?
Dylan can talk about it.
They are discussing.
Can we do this?
Sure.
Can we put this out to the next meeting? I guess
can
I'm
go to the
Visit the
I'm gonna go to the school,
Okay.
and I'm
Gonna
gonna
go to
walk
the
around the
bathroom.
school. Patty's making me go there.
She'll go into the women's room.
But,
Chairman,
no, but anyway, the reason why,
is good. No, that's
I'm joking right now, but I'm also not joking.
Yep.
As we all know, we gotta try to save as much money
Sure.
for educational.
Yep.
If the bathrooms aren't that bad to where there's not a health code violation,
Yep.
then I don't wanna really put money into it, but I'm gonna go see it.
Okay.
And next meeting, we'll
Okay.
check on the vote, okay? Thank
Can
you.
I say one
Can I
thing?
just
Yes.
ask one quick question?
Yes.
Go ahead, Darcy. You all set?
Dylan said they're old and grimy.
No, but that's on the second floor, correct, in the main building?
No, it's third floor.
Third floor.
Third
And
floor.
that's not
So
even
we're
being
not even
touched.
touching that part of the building.
That's-
Well,
We
I don't know.
We
Well,
don't
I mean,
know,
if we do
because we haven't
article-
made decide.
There is no Article 2.
No, I know there's no Article 2, but,
If we do a renovation.
If we had a renovation, that was the same.
I mean, if you want to do a renovation, then let's spend 80 million and do the whole thing.
If it was up to me, it'd be TNT, but it's not up to me.
Can I ask?
I
So,
don't think Hudson residents would like that.
yes.
So I just want to mention, Patty, remember you used to do the little tour? I don't know, who was it for the budget committee?
Yeah, me and Sean Jasper, we loved it.
So Patty's done,
Because he's the only one
I've
that
done a
showed
ride
up.
along on this, and it's usually after school's over. It's like this time of year when school's over. And I suggest everybody on this board take this tour with Patty. We go and look at all of these, every one of our buildings, and the principal of that building shows us the bad parts, okay? And it burns in your head. Like, I'll never forget going over it, and I think it was the greenhouse or something. It just, you have to see it. And when your kids leave that school, you haven't seen it in a long time. I think it's really important, before we have that powwow, that we go and visit all these things. We need to picture what we're looking at, and that was so helpful to me.
Yeah, no, it
Really
definitely is.
helpful. Go ahead.
Yes.
Just one other comment is, at the time we prepare the budget for FY19, the facilities director does prioritize with the principal.
I know.
It's just good to see
I
it.
told you I was gonna cause trouble, so.
No, that's fine.
Now he's
It's a
gonna
great
go use the
question. It's a
bathrooms,
really
it's all
good
good.
question.
It's all good.
Move on
We're holding this.
to contract award Hudson Memorial School partial roof replacement. Attachment 15.
As you're aware, there was a warrant article that was approved to do a partial roof replacement for the middle school. In this one, we did receive 4 vendors, did place bids. 3 of those vendors we have used in the past. Both the facilities director and myself are recommending that we do go with Corolla Contracting. They had the lowest bid, and it's at $154,981. And I'm looking for the board's approval.
I move that we accept the proposal of Corolla Contracting Incorporated for partial roof replacement.
Second.
Been properly moved to second. We're ready for a question.
Oh, I like this one. There's a lot of bids, yeah. I'm happy.
Roofing is big
35
business.
bids.
So it's the
See,
lowest,
there's
but it
no-
also obviously is quality.
We,
Yeah.
the Corolla has done many of our roofs, and we haven't had any issues with them.
Seeing there's no questions, we're ready for the vote. All in favor by saying aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's a vote. I just so to clear it. Okay, attachment 15.
We're on
No, 60. Oh, I'm getting mixed up here, okay. Extracurricular nominations.
Yep, this is extracurricular nominations for, that they know of so far at Elvern High School. And I do want to recognize the fact that they are getting them on time to the board.
Not on time, really early.
Really early, no doubt about it.
That's great.
And I think they've taken that advice to heart, which is good. And so there may be some additional ones if somebody drops out, or if a position isn't filled, or whatever the case may be. But this is the list for right now.
I'll make a motion to accept attachment number 16, extracurricular nominations.
Second?
Been properly moved in second. Ready for a question? I have a question. When was the last time, and I believe you alluded to this the other day, when the last time the school had a debate club?
Is it in here?
It's in now. I don't think
Do
we
you know,
had
Ms.
one
Lavoy?
before. Well, there's Model UN, which we know about.
Right.
But there wasn't a
No,
debate club for a while.
So, yes, I do know this because I drove them in the Bronco bus to their competition.
Of course you did.
I did. So I will go with probably 5 years ago.
5 years ago?
So there's a new teacher. There's a new. So
That's not the same teacher that was with me.
No, no,
when I
but so,
drove them.
so now there's this new, because this person's taking over Model UN as well. They kind of go hand in hand. So, yeah, do we know that this is sort of like a resurrection of the debate club? Or it's just been standing there in no man's land?
Is it possible if you can get us some information on that? I just
Sure.
have a huge interest in that.
We'll do, yeah,
Join it?
there's actually, there's a person down here from Model UN, and one of the applications I'm gonna be sharing with you in, non-public, that person is equally interested, so maybe one could do the other one.
Isn't it the person down for debate?
The same person,
No,
right?
It's the same
person for
person?
debate in Model UN.
Yes, it's Jerry Gibson?
Right.
That's what he's saying. He's saying
Right.
it's the same person for both, so maybe
No,
this
no,
person
oh, no,
might
no, what
wanna
I am
share.
saying is that Jerry Gibson is down for the Model UN.
Right, and debate.
And debate.
And
When so, I mean, if that's the case, that's fine. But what I'm saying is I interviewed another social studies teacher today.
Might be interesting.
If you approve that person was also interested in Model UN, so maybe one can do debate and one can
Right.
do. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Okay.
We could change it.
I'll look into
Let's find out if
that.
there's people
Choose
interested in
everyone.
debate.
Yeah, I'll look into that, yep.
All right.
They want it
Is,
debated.
Yeah.
properly moved in second.
Heard the
Are
debates
you ready for any more
already.
questions?
Okay.
Seeing there be no more questions, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
To vote, I so declare it.
Oh, no, I just said, because Dottie can't.
Budget transfer, SB 12, attachment 17.
This is a transfer that is coming to you from the IT director, and it is in the amount of $162,873. I do want to, before I go on, go back to, at the April 24th school board meeting, we met and we talked about moving forward on both safety and security and on technology, moving forward with the one-on-one. And and at that point, I said that we would be bringing the transfer forward. So it is purchase of student devices and associated supporting equipment at Hills Garrison, Nottingham, and Hudson Memorial. At the elementary level, it will support the implementation of classroom computer pods in the 3rd grade and a laptop for every other classroom in the 4th grade. At Memorial School, it will support equipping every 7th grade student with a computer.
In accompanying the transfer is some information the board wanted it broken down a little bit. So the next page is 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 7th grade cost, and then a district-wide cost. And on the back of that
Where's
is
that?
the proposed
here.
case that we would have the one-to-one devices in.
The district-wide cost is just the additional chargers that we would purchase to go along with the computers. That's why it's district-wide. It would be given out as needed.
I move that we accept school board transfer number 12.
Second.
Been properly moved in second, ready for a question? Yes.
So how do we guarantee that the students don't destroy these? I know in some districts, they require an insurance policy. Or,
So-
It's in the
So,
policy that we just.
we are, what we're proposing is that there's gonna be a computer, is it a computer use fee?
Right, the logistics have not been worked out yet, we need to get them ordered so that we can move forward, but we have talked about each student paying a fee that would be used for purchasing, put into a fund that would be used for purchasing ones that are damaged or paying for repairs.
Another district is using that strategy right now, it's working out well.
right, one more question. So like a 7th grader, when they're done 7th grade, they return it, right? Because they don't bring it with them to 8th grade?
I believe
Okay,
they do.
So the philosophy is the 7th grader would keep that device as an 8th grader. And then, once they leave the middle school, that device stays in the middle school, and then they'll get a new device in the high school.
So this is like the test class, if you will, to see, to find out all the logistics of having a one-to-one setup. Eventually, what we'd like to do is have it 6 through 12. And so we're starting off with 7th grade, because that grade level is the most prepared with the knowledge of technology to do the test case with.
I think we talked about this whole evolution of
Yeah.
where
Right,
this is gonna
right.
go from here, and that's why we approved it. We thought it made sense.
Any other questions?
Just
Yes.
one other comment, I just want to make the board aware that we also did talk about our free and reduced population, and we would be scholarshiping them on that fee use.
Been properly moved in second. Seeing there's no more questions, are you ready for the vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's a vote. Nay. There's 4 yes, 1 nay.
Lee.
Lee?
Boy.
It's, and Mr. Chairman, if I want to clarify, I don't know, we had our little workshop and it was thrown at us, and I just don't feel like I have any information besides what I see right here. And I know you probably have a little more information on this than we do, but
Regardless of the vote, Mr. Lavoy, would you like us to give you any more information, or have anybody report to you, or?
No, I just, I had questions like, the food and the reduced lunch, and, obviously the insurance. What I've read is if you let the student keep their device, they take better care of it.
Right.
I've gone through this and studied this for 3 or 4 years, because when I went to LA for a school board retreat years ago, a lot of schools in California were doing this 10 years ago. So they were doing
iPads. Oh, were they doing laptops?
They were doing laptops.
Oh, okay.
This is 10 years ago.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, I have a question
Yeah.
for the superintendent. Oh, no, we're still the contracts to do. Sorry. I thought we were done.
Well, we're not done
Yeah, we're not
because
done.
we
There's a
have
lot
to
of
set a
pages.
date for the retreat, so there we go.
One more new business. We have a new.
And we have
the process
process
for the
evaluation
superintendent. We'll put that on the agenda.
And I have
So-
a question for the superintendent.
You want you have a question now?
Go home.
No, my question is, do we need to go in non-public if no one has any problems with these nominations?
I do have a,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
So question.
Yeah.
All right, so, you have on here process of evaluation of the superintendent, so if you don't mind, I just wanna speak to the board about what we've done in the past. Lee was there, so this
Yeah.
might be helpful, because we could probably do.
That's why
two-
it's on here, just so you can do
Right.
that, yep.
We could probably do two things at one time, almost a little bit, so that, to value people's time. So in the past, we've had a retreat, which is not a fun retreat like you might think.
Whoa.
It's not a game, there's no games being played at these retreats, none whatsoever.
Not gonna catch each other.
Malcolm
And
is
I like a
catering
good
it.
game, but,
Yeah,
so,
right.
we've had a retreat, and it doesn't, every board is different about people's work schedules, so, like, that has to be determined with this board, but what we've done in the past is we've gone to Saresca Bedford, which I know we don't belong to anymore, but we can still get a room. We have a school, board fund, and that's what that fund is technically to be used for. We could get a room over there. They also cater a lunch or whatever we want, so, it's a day, a half a day, but we are all together in a room discussing things. We can break out, and do the part about what everybody thinks, going forward in the district. And then we can do a part where it's just school board and we talk about the superintendent's evaluation. I'm just throwing this out there because this is in the essence of time. Like, has to be done kind of in a timely fashion. So I'm throwing it out there for people to discuss how they feel about that.
So
Got it?
I have a
Good.
question. So do you mean that we would just talk about the process then, or we'd be doing the evaluation then?
No, we wouldn't do the evaluation, then we talk about how we wanna move forward and look at the evaluation and then do the evaluation
Or have a
piece.
run, but
Correct.
we need still before the logistics of how we're doing the evaluation.
Right, so discover the
Correct, that's what I'm
process.
saying, would be the
Okay.
process of how we would do it in that day. So we would, we don't have to do it that way either, but I'm trying to say, is
That
I don't
makes
know how
sense.
much time people have.
Okay, and I was just gonna add something to that. It seems to me, Darcy, this is your field. So I think it would seem to me you might have, we could look at our old process and then maybe, it seems to me like you would have some good ideas for evaluation.
What I've seen is that usually the HR department really we ask the HR department to produce, like, maybe what they've used before, or what they see with their research are the industry standards for what, and then the HR department usually consults with a subcommittee around sort of drafting a process, and
I
that's
don't
what
think we have that
That's
kind of
never
infrastructure here.
Yeah, well-
Yeah.
Right, well, I'm just telling you.
Right.
And drafts an instrument that they then come and vet with the board, and the board decides, and you get input from the superintendent or the CEO or the president, whoever that is, and then you finalize an instrument. Clearly, the board has authority to finalize it in the way they want in the process, and then create a timeline to administer it, whatever it is,
Right.
and then come back. And sometimes the subcommittee will score it, if you will, or calculate the results or summarize it, and then present that as, to the board, but also really work with that subcommittee with the superintendent, because, and then after you've done that smaller group work, then, and HR is usually always present, because you want that sort of, that role there, it's a key, they're a key part of their role, because we're not doing it all, they actually do a lot of it, and then come up with a final report and sets
So-
of goals and things.
You're right, if
I
it
know.
was a normal world. In here, what happens is the HR person actually has, been in the past, has been evaluated at some points by the superintendent, even though Karen, is that not, aren't you
no,
the HR?
I evaluate
The HR.
Yeah.
But so this is why in the past that didn't work, that didn't happen. We never included the HR person because the superintendent was evaluating the HR person, so so it became a little convoluted.
But I'm thinking about my own professional experience, that's always the case, the superintendent always evaluates all the staff, so it just depends.
Well, now it doesn't. Well, now we got it right.
Yeah, so it really is a case of, you have a new-ish HR director, right, who is a HR I don't know about anybody else from before, but is a HR professional, who should at least, at the very least, be able to gather the data that we need. Like, I would expect to see 1 or 2 examples of instruments sort of drafted, created with process, that then comes back to the board or the subcommittee, whatever you decide to look at and make a determination. Vet it with the superintendent, because, they're part of the process, and they should be able to chime in, like, I think this is reasonable, I think this is gonna be fair, because you need to get that mutual buy-in, from Larry as well as from us. That's, I don't know, so.
So if we went to this retreat with some of these,
Prepared,
right, I think that would be a
examples.
great time to look at those. I don't wanna just go there, I don't wanna start then, we need to get
Correct.
something.
The
like
No,
stuff,
that,
well,
right?
that's the thing. That was my point. Like, you would have your information that you need. You wouldn't evaluate the superintendent at that point.
Just the
But you
tools.
would go
The
and
tools,
evaluate.
To look at and to select the tools.
We would evaluate how the things we have to evaluate him.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then we would discuss the plan. So now I put it out to people, what do you want to do?
What do you mean?
Like a whole day, a half a day?
Oh, you're talking the retreat?
Yeah,
'Cause
we're
now
gonna set a
mixing
date right
into-
now, I'm not kidding. Like I said on air, we're gonna set a date. We're seriously setting a date.
No, I just don't wanna mix apples and oranges. One thing is the process, so we need we're gonna ask the superintendent to ask HR to,
No, we can ask Adrian.
I wrote
I
notes,
think you would go
I can
through
request that.
them. You can ask them, but I think it's,
I know there are standards that we
Yeah.
should be following.
Right, there are.
School leadership standards.
there are school leadership standards, there are checklists for superintendent evaluation.
Indiana State School Leadership.
There is the
Licensure
National
Consortium.
Policy Board for Educational Administrator Professional Standards, so we need to turn
It's-
these into some kind of
It's
instrument.
called the
And I-
Educational Leadership.
Okay, so we're picking a date, I'm looking at, when did you have the last one, Patty? Like what month?
We just had it at some point in the summer. It was sometime in July. We had it.
Professional standards
So-
for educational leaders.
It can be June, it doesn't matter. It was in the
Yeah, I'm
summer
gonna have to
though. It
take
was in the
June.
summer.
If you want me there, I'm gonna be getting.
Well, July is
surgery,
very
so I'm
difficult
gonna
for
be
me
getting
as
June,
well.
So, I'll be out of commission for a while, so July is probably a safer bet for me.
Okay. What does anybody else think?
So we're talking July, the month of
I mean,
July?
You're talking the end of July, I can't. Talking the first week in August, I can't, so, and the first week of July.
Why don't we somebody do a doodle poll on this instead? It'd be like, I know you want the date, but it's just, you have.
Is that the thing that Megan used to do, where everybody fills in their availability or something?
And who's gonna look at it? Are you?
Whoever's
I can't.
convening the
No,
retreat.
no. Like, what I'm trying to say is I can't do that.
So let's do some concrete dates, because that's what, that are possible, that,
What does everybody have for availability in July?
Here, I'll throw it out there. What about the second week of July? Is anybody on vacation anytime between the 9th and the 13th of July?
I am on vacation that whole entire time.
Okay, this is why we're asking.
does
Are you
does the
looking for
administration
personnel
support
to be
that?
here?
Are you also
Yeah.
asking for senior staff?
Yes.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So so the 9th and
Oh, I would
13th
be,
is out.
no, I'm available.
You're
You know,
gone.
So I need to say this, so like I'm getting, transplant part, my kidney removed, yay, whatever. So I don't have a date for that yet, but I know the doctor said I have to do it within 4 to 6 weeks. So I am really, you're gonna have to plan,
We'll
just plan around me
we'll just
and I'll
plan
figure
around
it out.
you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll take me out of it. If I can make it, I will.
So what about,
Cancer for the 4th time. I'm so lucky, yeah. 4th time's a charm, everybody.
what about the and what about the week of the 23rd to the 27th?
What month are we in?
July.
For me, it has to be on a Wednesday.
We're doing this during the week?
Yes, this is why I'm asking people this, because that affects people's jobs, and that's why
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, you know, is it easier for people to take a half a day, a full day? Like, how do you wanna frame it? Because every board is different. Last time there wasn't a lot of people that worked on the other board, so it was easier. You know what I'm saying, like, they didn't.
I'm not sure I'll be home.
What about the
Now
last
that I'm
week
out of
of
it,
June?
go back to June, if
The
you
last
want.
week of June.
Yeah, I'm out of the, so
This
if
is
I'm
the
out of
last
the
week
picture, go back to June.
This is the last week of July,
Yeah.
but it goes into August.
Yeah. well,
And
she
this
said
is the
four-
very
between
first week
four
of
So you wanna
August.
just go to June?
Wanna go back to June?
Yeah, I'm out of
Last
it.
week
Last
of
week in June?
So if it needs to be a Wednesday, that makes it the
Wednesday.
27th.
On the how about June 27th?
Sounds
You
good
guys
to me.
just-
I'll put it in,
There's
it's on
two-
there, I'm there if I'm
yeah,
not.
okay.
27.
June
Yeah, June
27th, is
27th.
that, no? Yes, no?
Larry and I are up in Mount Washington.
What are you doing?
Out
We'll come
for
with
the
you.
leadership conference up there.
Learning things.
We're learning
So you
things.
caught it right away, she.
We're learning things. So, yeah, but it's half day on the 27th, so if you do it in the afternoon, maybe.
Oh,
you're never gonna make it back. Oh my God, when are you gonna
drive like 100 miles an hour down the road
Where are you gonna be? Is it somewhere fun?
Mount
I'll pick you up
Washington,
there, you'll get back.
The Omni, Mount Washington Hotel.
That's nice.
Yeah. Bretton Woods.
How about the 3rd week?
Okay.
That's a
the-
tough
third
week
week
for
of
you guys with
June.
school, right?
The 30th?
Oh, no, it's right, no.
You're still in school.
That's graduation week, that's right.
No, graduation week is the
No.
14th.
The
That's the
14th.
last day of kids in school.
Yeah, it's a tough day for you guys to not.
Oh, you're not gonna, that's not your last day then.
Yes.
Just a question, are we looking at a full day? Are you looking at
Well,
starting at
this is
noon
what-
and going to
well,
the
this is what we're
evening?
trying to figure out, is like, what is it easier for people? Like,
I
actually.
guess it's what is easier
Listen,
for the board.
I will just get somebody to work for me, so like,
I mean, I can
I'm
only
gonna
see what
defer
I
to
can
Darcy.
see.
well, because I don't, if
I
it's
know, I
easier
know.
for you to,
I don't know, from what I can tell, I would guess I could do, we're Wednesday.
Is that what you're thinking, the 20th
Of June?
or the 13th?
I'm so confused.
the,
You're back
I
in
could
June
do the
again now?
13th.
Don't we have school in June? Isn't that the issue?
I have one more question. Who was invited to this meeting? Are we including principals?
No.
No,
Just administration?
us.
Okay,
Right.
thanks.
Who's sitting here?
Everyone but Dylan right here.
Yep.
So let me ask you, what is the last day of school?
You're out, Dylan, be
Give us a
happy.
day in June that after we can go, because I
So
don't
the
know.
last day we have students present is the 20th.
So
and
this
then
has to be
teacher
after
PD
the
is still
20th.
being ironed
Yeah,
out.
you gotta do that.
Okay, so just know that, it's after the 20th. So the 27th is already out, right?
Why
Because
is
you
it-
two are
Malcolm,
gonna
there's
be in
no
Mount
other way you
Washington or
can do
whatever.
anything else but no other days. You don't have a job, man, what are you doing? Just putting you on the spot. Come on.
You ever seen my truck, have you?
No, I've not. You have not ring-a-ding-ding down my neighborhood to meet up with the small food truck.
He's got an ice cream truck.
The ice cream truck.
I know, I'm just kidding, come on, time.
2 cheeseburgers, please. I'll pay you next week.
Stop in the parking lot at Stonewood School, you'll get 20 girls out there in a matter of seconds.
I am enjoying retirement.
So it still has to be Wednesday.
Yes.
I
think
can't
that
sit
did
near
it.
you.
Okay, so we're back in July or August?
July 11th? We'll go through every Wednesday, July
July
11th?
11th
Was somebody
is
on
good.
vacation that week?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm on
Mike
vacation
might
that
be
week.
coming in early.
On Monday.
I don't
Monday.
know if.
All right, wait, I broke him.
I know, I
He
was gonna
said
say, we shook
Monday.
him
Oh,
down.
July 11th.
Monday?
I broke him. Can
June
we do it Monday?
25th.
How about June 25th?
No, they'll be gone.
We're gone.
You're still gone? How
They're
many-
gone Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Long
Oh,
day for
man.
you guys.
Learning to happen.
In the White
We
Mountains.
need it. We need a
Spent
lot
the
of
whole
learning.
year together, now you spend 3 more days.
All right.
July 2nd.
No,
No, what about
Last
July,
week of
what
July,
about
we
July
finished it.
9th?
I'm on
Who's away
vacation.
on the 9th?
No,
You're away.
I'm on vacation the week of the 4th.
You need to be there.
the 9th,
We got a
no.
board meeting that night.
Oh,
On the 9th.
could we defer the
We
board?
we don't usually do board meetings in July.
Yeah, we,
we
have
could-
canceled them before.
Right.
oh yeah, a lot of times we do, because everybody's away.
That's your signal, make a decision now, your time's
I
up.
would like the 16th if we're doing it, that seems sort of harmless, the 9th is.
So I
the
won't
day
be
I'm
here,
taking
but it
it.
doesn't matter, I can't be
I
here on
would
the
rather do the
16th.
16th than the 9th, because 9th is the first day of ESY, and so that's the day, if anything goes awry, somebody doesn't, just, if things don't happen as planned, that's the day it's gonna happen. So
Or
I'd
the
rather keep
23rd?
So the 16th
July.
is good.
I
She
can
said the
do that.
16th is good.
16th is good.
But Patty
I can't do
do
it, it doesn't matter though, you all know how I feel, I'm very vocal, so it, you
If
know.
then you're risking only having 3 school board members, and
Yeah, I
that
know
kind of
that.
ruins the entire.
Yeah, I'll have
it's
less,
kinda-
'cause
Oh,
I
that's
won't be
true.
here.
Plus, I mean,
And
if
he's
you,
not gonna be there either, so forget me.
The last week of July and the first week of August, I can't.
if you're gonna lose one member between Rachel or a board member, then I would say, then work around Rachel.
Right, because you have special ed knowledge as well, so if we had to.
Yeah, so I mean, if,
All right, so we're going, are we back to the 9th then? Okay,
Well,
can
9th really-
every,
But I can always
I
come after
don't
things
wanna
are
do
settled
the
and then
9th.
come
Okay.
up.
yeah, that's fine
No,
too,
that
I
can
mean,
Show
right.
of, like,
The 9th I could do better than the 16th, I just can't do the 16th, but I can do the 9th.
9th
It's like
works for
planning
me.
a wedding.
July 9th works for me.
Okay, so
That's
raise
hard
your
for
hand if the
Darcy.
9th works for you, I'm just trying to get,
it's hard for Darcy, I can do
Okay.
that.
and I don't.
You're out.
I mean, if,
We can move
I don't
into,
need
we
to
can
be
move
there,
into,
right?
no, you do. We can move into August,
well, what, and the 11th didn't work?
August is almost harder, so
okay. I want the people on the TV to see the great effort that we've been putting into this and how difficult it is, I'm just saying.
The 11th doesn't work for whom? July?
I can do the 11th.
You, Mary?
Well, if my kids come in
No.
early, that's what they're talking about, is coming in early. I could do the 9th probably, but maybe not the 11th.
Could you do the 11th and not the 9th?
Well, they're for sure.
Okay, so
coming
then
on
we
the
have to ask the question, if that works for the school.
Everybody else.
School board.
You just
can
tell
do
us.
that.
You don't
So why
need-
don't you make it on the 11th?
Okay.
I just-
Everybody good with the 11th?
And I may or may not
It's
be
a
there.
Wednesday!
It's back to what you
Wednesday.
wanted.
So retreat.
Okay,
We don't know if it's a
July
full day or
11th?
not, though. We have not decided that.
Can we get a price on Ceresc?
half
the
day,
rest doesn't
please.
rent rooms anymore.
No, they don't do that. We'll have to
They
get
don't
someone
even
else.
hold that property anymore, they reconfigured completely.
All right, so then we need, here is my suggestion, that it not be in the buildings of
Yep.
Hudson.
We'll
We
have a
need to
place for
find
you.
some place that's
We'll have
nice,
a place for you.
that
We'll find a
has some
place.
kind of
Yeah,
food.
I want food. Just saying.
Oh, we will
Okay.
definitely.
Yeah.
Food, and then maybe we can go outside and get fresh air.
Yes.
Those are my only criteria, and I may or may not be there. You can come to Mass General.
There you go. All right, we'll do a room outside for you.
Terry's pretty good there.
Not bad.
All right, so we have 11th then, and we will pick the exact time.
Sure.
All right? You will let us know a
Yep.
location. Everybody good now?
Y'all.
We done with this?
We are. But
We're
did
done
you
with
see how difficult that was?
And then the HR will come up with some sample instruments
Yes.
and processes.
Look at that.
There's
That's
some
it.
textbooks and things on this. I was like
Mr.
looking.
Superintendent.
It has the instruments designed.
Yes.
Are you looking
That
at the
time of the
11th,
evening.
half a day or a full day?
Oh, Dylan, I'm sorry.
You have to go around your
You'd
thing.
rather start at noon?
My man right here, Dylan.
First of all, thoughts and prayers with the victims of Santa Fe, Texas. The shooting that happened there on last Friday. But other than that, school year's coming to a close. Prom went really well. Huge thank you to all the parents that helped set up the cafeteria while it was raining and the pictures, but they did a really good job. That's all.
This isn't your last meeting?
We have one more.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask Dylan if the young lady who's going to be taking your place, if you could bring her?
Yeah, she's in.
She's going to bring him. Thank
Yep.
you. You're already ahead of me, bud.
So, echo what Dylan said about Santa Fe. I think that's another reason for us to be vigilant and always thinking. On a lighter note, Seussical, the musical, was amazing. It was a great example of community theater, and I think the faculty, staff, and community and all the different school levels came together in this creative endeavor that was really remarkable to see that kind of turnout and commitment and parental involvement from all different ages and all different parts, and people that came to watch as well, you know.
I'm just gonna echo what Darcy said. The musical was great. It was nice to see they included kids from all schools. we had a reverse from the unified. Instead of kids helping unified kids helped us and made all the popcorn for the shows, for concessions. So it was actually it was very nice. It was a real community effort. So kudos to everybody that worked so hard on that. That's it.
From what I heard, the prom was a good time. The nice thing is, nobody got hurt or did anything stupid, which, it's always a very stressful time of the year, being on the board, worrying about someone. So, you need one idiot and ruin it. Stacy, I will ask about the sound quality, at my next Hudson Cable meeting. Farm Day was, like I said, was a lot of fun. I'm not sure if my wife and daughter and my son's girlfriend will ever talk to me again, because they made over 400 and something pancakes. I bought 370 plates, and we sent somebody out to buy more plates, so they made over 400 pancakes and passed out pancakes and syrup. And it was kind of funny, because some people will come back and say, "Can I have another one? Can I have another one?" Echoing the firearm issue, no matter what your opinion on the Second Amendment is, Sandy Hook, the gentleman he grabbed his mother's gun that was not secured. And this young man last week grabbed his father's gun that was not secured. The Waffle House attack was another firearm that was not secured. I'm just, I know I'm a small fish in a big pond here, but please, secure your firearms. I mean, those three could have been avoided if somebody's guns were in a safe, locked-up position. That's all I have tonight, Mr. Chairman.
I really like seeing the FAA kids. It just brings us back to our sort of CTE roots, pun intended, but they just do such a great job, and they're so proud of their coats. And by the way, those are corduroy. They had to be hot. They're not cool coats. They're very happy. I am really hoping we get the trustees or somebody can come forth with the funds for those participants who can't afford to go. That seems really important to me. And the Eagle Scout, I like the fact that they're doing it at Elburn is really cool. I think that's it's so direct for the student, and I love his idea that he loves history, but looking around at sort of chipped paint takes away from that experience. And I love that. I love the connection he made. I think he was a little shy, but that idea was such a great idea. And to go to the shooting, I just need to say that for me personally on the school board, my number one priority is security above everything. It's definitely, I know we've addressed it a lot, but I will never let go of this. This is the most important thing to me. And you know what? It doesn't matter what we have in our schools if our kids are not safe. So that's number one. And they have to feel safe, because that one girl broke my heart, interviewed in this last shooting, where they said, "Are you surprised this happened?" She said, "No, I expected it to happen." That is the most sad and tragic thing I heard. And that's got to stop. Our kids have to feel safe in school. So again, that's what we're going to talk about some retreat. That's number one for me.
Thank you very much. I got to go to Farm Day, as you heard earlier. I'm a city boy, and they had me turn the tables. I have a bunch of pictures of cows, little goats and chickens. I saw some weird chickens I've never seen before.
Wasn't that chicken cool? Did you pet it?
It looked like a cat.
Did you pet it?
It didn't look like a chicken you could eat. I'm a chicken connoisseur, but no, it was a great thing. I met the young man Trevor. He didn't know who I was, and he gave me a tutorial about the whole program, which was really good. And I mean, he speaks a lot better than I do. So as far as going around, I see the log splitting down the end. It was incredible. I'm glad I actually went, and before it got to rain, I got to see some pancakes being made. Someone's in trouble. Some homemade syrup and a little contraption they made there was boiling water, supposed to be syrup. But we have some great programs at the school, and that's part of the reason why I'm here. So we'll make sure we keep those programs. And as you've seen tonight, these young adults, I wouldn't say kids, young adults, they're very positive. They want to be leaders. And that's what we're gonna produce here in Hudson. That's it. Mr. Superintendent, we're gonna go into, that
Yep.
thing.
So according to
Non-public.
RSA 91-3:3, provides certain conditions under which the school board may enter into non-public session. The two conditions that we're going under tonight are B, the hiring of any person as a public employee, and C, matters which if discussed in public would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of the body or agency itself, unless such person requests an open meeting.
So moved.
Second.
It's been approved and second. Anybody for question? See, there's no questions. All in favor by saying aye?
Aye.
It's a vote, is it clear? Good night, everybody.
Good move.